Hey yo, what is up, guys? It is Slim the Bug Guy, and since my content is, based around herping and like reptiles and that sort of stuff, it's really challenging to make videos during the winter. Um, but I think this is kind of my solution to doing videos during the winter. So instead of doing like actual herping videos, I am going to do videos like this, and this is kind of a test run. I want to see how this goes. I'm also trying a new editing platform. I know CapCut got banned, but I think it would be nice to kind of expand my horizons. Uh, so yeah, this is I did the Bermuda Cave video on this platform, and that didn't go great. But I think this can go better. So yeah, let's try this out. Also, please bear with me while I try to figure out this new microphone. I've had this for a while, but I've never actually used it. I think I used it in maybe a live stream that's deleted now. But yeah, I haven't really used any of this equipment before. I mean, obviously I've used my computer, but I haven't really edited on it. Also, the webcam is dog shit, so it's just my computer's default webcam. So if this goes well, I'll probably like try to invest in like nicer webcam because this is really bad. Also, the editing is gonna be a little worse than usual, so just bear with me. Alright, guys, enough yapping. Let's get right into the video because I'm tired of lecturing you guys. So now I'm going to stop lecturing you guys about the quality of this video, and I'm going to start lecturing you guys about what you clicked on this video for, which is what is the difference between a cottonmouth and a water snake. A cottonmouth, aka water moccasin, is like for context, it is a venomous pit viper, and the water snakes, like all I'm grouping most water snakes together, um, because there's not really like a specific one that people get confused. I mean, I know people get broad-banded water snakes confused a lot, but I think it's better if I just kind of talk about the difference, like the general differences. And also, yeah, so the water moccasin is a very like a venomous pit viper, and the water snake is a mildly venomous colubrid. So big difference there. One can potentially kill you, and one cannot. So, it's important to know the difference between the two. So yeah. The first big difference between water moccasins and water snakes is their head shape. Now, water moccasins, and by extension, most pit vipers, have very triangular heads, um, which is pretty much an indicator that it's a venomous snake. Now, there are exceptions like pythons, which are non venomous, but still have a triangular head for different reasons. So, yeah, that is where the venom glands are going to be, right behind where the fangs are. Um, so that they can pump venom directly through the fangs. Now, a water snake will have a very like sort of oval shaped head, which is characteristic of colubrids, which is what they are. Now, again, do not use this as an indicator for all snakes because there are a ton of venomous snakes that have oval heads. In fact, some of the most venomous snakes in the world have oval heads, i.e., the inland taipan, which has a oval head and is quite literally the most venomous snake in the entire world. So just please don't use that as an indicator. Also, it's important to note that when they feel threatened, most water snake species can actually inflate their jaws to make themselves look like they have triangular heads, but don't be fooled, because I mean, they can make their heads triangular, but there's nothing really there. The only venom they have is in their saliva, so they're pretty harmless. All right, guys. Now the second difference, kind of ties into the first one, but is more specific. So we're going to be talking about the pupils. Now, the pupils of the water moccasin, and by extension, a lot of pit vipers, is elliptical. They have elliptical pupils, which are kind of like cat eyes. Whereas water snakes and a lot of other colubrids have round pupils. But again, don't go off of this because like we discussed earlier, there's a lot of non-venomous snakes that have elliptical pupils, and there's a lot of venomous snakes, in fact, some of the most venomous snakes in the world, that have round pupils. Again, the inland taipan, it has round pupils, and it is the most venomous snake in the world. Now, it is also important to note that, um it's also important to note that elliptical pupils can dilate, which means that, they're gonna be round. So again, not a great indicator, but it is a difference, so I am gonna throw that one in. Alright, guys, now another difference is their heat pits, which the water moccasins possess. Now heat pits are characteristic of pit vipers, and it's actually why they're called pit vipers. They have a heat sensing pits, well, multiple heat sensing pits on either side of their face. Um, which like it sounds, it helps them find heat from their prey and follow it. So while a colubrid would only be able to rely on its sense of smell, and potentially sight, it depends because a lot of snakes have very poor eyesight. A moccasin and a lot of like pit vipers in general are able to also rely on the heat from the prey that they are hunting. Now, again, this extends to pythons as well, which are non-venomous, but they also have heat pits. The main difference is pit vipers have them right under the eye, and pythons have rows of many heat pits along the sides of their heads. And yeah, so water snakes do not have any heat pits, just nostrils. All right, so I want to preface this section by saying do not rely on color to determine which species it is, because color can have so many different things. I mean, it's genetic. It can have to do with the locality. There's also like tons of like there's so much variation in color that I would not use that as an indicator to tell me whether or not it was a water snake or a water moccasin. However, there are other physical traits like just general physique, um, which is kind of like, so water moccasins are very short and very fat, like proportionately very fat compared to their length. Um, while water snakes are very much more round, and slender compared to like comparatively to their length. So yeah, so you'll see if you see a big beefy snake, even if it isn't a water moccasin, I would double check before grabbing it because that is what a lot of pit vipers look like. Um, and similarly, a lot of colubrids have thin bodies, but again, I can't stress this enough. That is also a key characteristic of elapids, which are some of the most dangerous snakes on this entire planet. Also another thing to note is that the head shape again. Now, I know I already touched on the head shape. I already did a whole dedicated section, but I just like to touch on it again, because I wanted to say water moccasins and a lot of pit vipers, some people describe as looking angry, like cartoonishly angry. They have these scales that sort of like make their eyes like look like they're constantly angry. So just that's really stupid and don't rely on that, but like just if you know, like if you look at them, you'll know what I'm talking about. Um so just if the snake looks angry, maybe maybe leave it alone. All right, guys. Now the fifth and the final piece I want to touch on is behavior. So this is mostly behavior like when you encounter them, how they're going to react to you. So let's start off with the water moccasin. Now you may think, I think a lot of people are gonna think like, oh, it'll be like super aggressive and stuff, but generally no. Generally, they are very tame water moccasins, unless you mess with them, in which case there are a few things they will do. So, the first thing they will do is they will probably inflate their bodies to make themselves look even bigger. and they already have pretty inflated bodies. But if you see the snake be especially thick, maybe leave it alone because it is clearly pissed off. Now, the second thing they will do is actually what they're known for and why they're called cottonmouths, like why that's or white cotton white something. Anyway, I call them cottonmouths, and the reason they have that or some variation of that name is because they actually mouth gape, and when they mouth gape, they have their entire inner lining of their mouth is white. Now, my theory as to why this is there's probably an answer out there somewhere, um, but my theory has always been that the reason they do that is to sort of contrast their dark body. They flash their like white mouth so that it really sticks out to whatever's trying to attack them. Um, and it sort of, like it really warns them, like it's really there. It takes the place of a vibrant, like say yellow or something like that. Honestly, I think white is much more effective than yellow in this situation because it really pops. And but yeah, they may bluff strike, or in extreme cases, obviously they're gonna strike, um, which you don't want to happen. Now let's talk about water snakes. So water snakes are erratic. They will, as soon as you get anywhere near them, they will jump in the water. Let's just get that out of the way. So the only way you're going to get up close to them is either if you dive into the water and go where they're going and kind of chase them, because they're pretty fast swimmers, but if you run, you can definitely catch up to them. Um, Now, the other thing they'll do if you catch them is immediately musk. They will musk this horrible fishy smelling musk. And if you don't know, musk is basically just shit from a snake. Well, not exclusively a snake, but in this context, it's a snake. Um, so yeah, it's a self-defense mechanism. And the other thing they'll do is bite you. Now, water snake bites are not medically significant in any way, unless you have like some crazy allergy, but I've never heard of that. So they have mild venom, but it's not a big deal. Because it's simply saliva venom, which a lot of colubrids have, and they're rear fang venomous, which means for the most part, you're not even going to get any in you. Anyway, the real sort of danger for infection is water snake teeth break off quite easily. So just clean your wounds thoroughly also because they have an anticoagulant in their saliva. But back to the teeth thing, it is possible that you'll have a couple teeth lodged in you. So just really clean the wound and just make sure to remove any teeth. All right, guys. So overall, please do not rely on this video to make your decision. It is a it herping is a risky thing, you know. There's it's most of the time it's split second decisions. And I just think, it's not for everybody. And that's not to say that it's like this whole like exclusive thing, but I'm just saying, um please do your own research, make sure you're comfortable with the snake before you pick it up, and there's no shame in just letting a snake go if you're just suspicious or you just don't know exactly what it is, especially when like herping in a new area and stuff like that. Um this video is simply just to kind of help you guys out on your herping adventures. Also I want to also put that I'm not a professional. I have been herping for years and years and years, and most of this information is stuff that I've researched and also partially my own personal experience dealing with these animals, which I do believe that firsthand experience is very important in videos like this. Also, I want to say if this is never going to happen, but in case any of you guys want to use this video as like a source for something, like something to do, like maybe you're writing a paper or something, my advice is don't. You can if you want to, but don't. And the reason why is because when you get information from a video like this and then you put it into something else, it's kind of like a game of telephone where the information is going to get slowly distorted. So I say, if you're gonna do something like that, like go to the sources, Like, just do your own research on this kind of stuff. I'm not a do your own research person, but like genuinely do your own research on this kind of stuff. But yeah, guys, I'm Son the Bug Guy, and it's been great. See ya.